Hi friends, welcome to my channel Simple Learning Tips, and today we'll be covering part 2 of workers' participation in management. And in my previous video I've covered definition, objectives, levels of workers' participation in management, and I think 3 forms of workers' participation in management I've covered it. So if you haven't seen that, I'll leave the link in the description box as well as in the iCard above, so you can click and you can watch it before moving on to this topic. So without much further ado, let's move on to today's topic, that is forms of workers' participation in management. So in this video, I'll be covering a basic understanding of what are the various forms of workers' participation in management. So this is just to give you a basic understanding. So it is it is always a theoretical type of videos, but this will be proper, like you will have to, if you have to understand anything, means there will be not much of explanation, because it's like these are the conditions that okay, there should be more than 100 workers, there should be more than 1000 workers to form let's say joint management council, for example. Okay, so this video will be like that. So without much further ado, let's start. So far we have covered works committee and joint management council. So today we'll start with joint production committee. Okay, now joint production committee, it consists of equal number of representatives from management and unions. Okay, so that is what joint production committee. And their main functions are they discuss about issues like improving the working conditions and understands the production issue, and also how to streamline the production and how to improve the working pattern in a department level, and also to reduce the cost and to improve the quality of products, then how to improve the productivity and like working conditions, etc. So these are the main functions of joint production committee. Okay, so next is joint council. Now this council should be formed if at every division or branch or any kind of department where there are 100 or more people are working, then there should be a joint council. So if there is, let's say at a zone level, or let's say at based on a region, or so, which means that for every division, department or branch where there are 100 or more people are there, a joint council should be formed. Now these people, they actually engage in the organization. Okay, and the tenure of this council is for 2 years, and this they can have meeting at any point. Like it's not necessary that you have to have a meeting every week and all that, but at least they can have meeting whenever it is necessary, but at least once in a quarter there should be a meeting. Now whatever decisions are being taken in that council, that should be implemented within 1 month, unless otherwise it is prescribed in the decision that it can take more time than 1 month. Then even there are joint council, like I've mentioned here, there are unit council. Now whatever issues are not, so unit council I'll be covering now. Whatever issues are not discussed or are not solved in unit council, that will come to joint council. Okay, and they handle issues, or they discuss issues related to the improvement or performance of an organization, and also if to recognition and to recognize and appreciate the suggestions given by the workers, and also to prepare a roster chart, like schedules of working hours and holidays, then to improve the skills or to develop the skills of the workers, and of course working to improve the working conditions. So all these things will be discussed in the joint council. Okay, so 100 or more employees at every division, department or branch. Then tenure is for 2 years. So all these things are the important points. I'm just giving you a gist of whatever of these forms of workers' participation. I hope it is clear. Okay, so next one is unit councils. Now since this joint council was kind of a success, manufacturing unit and mining unit. Okay, they introduced a new scheme of workers' participation in commercial and service organizations in the public sector. And where and what kind of public sector? Who deals with public in large scale. Okay, for units, they should employ at least 100 people. And this unit council, it was announced on 5th January 1977. Okay, so wherever the units, they have at least 100 people, unit councils should be formed. Now these organizations, like I mentioned, that they deal with public on a large scale, like for example hotels, hospitals, then post and telegraph office. Not telegraph if is not there. Food corporation, electricity boards, then mines and research institutes, insurance companies, railways, air transport, docks, banks, irrigation systems. So all these organizations. Okay. Now again in this unit council, they will have representatives from both workers side and management side. And like I said, they should have more than 100 or more workers. And they discuss day-to-day problems and they try to find a solution. Okay, and the total number of members in this unit council should not be more than 12. And again, every decision that has been taken in the unit council will be implemented within 1 month. Otherwise, it would be mentioned in the decision taken. And their tenure is for 3 years. And the council shall meet at least once a month. Okay, so that is how it differs from joint council. Also, they discuss on day-to-day issues. What are the various day-to-day issues, and they try to solve it. Again, it should be implemented within a month. And the functions will be the unit council. Once it is formed, it is for 3 years. Now, next one is plant council. Okay, before that, let me just explain what are the various functions of unit council. It includes, recommendation to improve the safety, hazards, health, welfare measures of the workers, and it identifies inferior service areas and they try to eliminate it, and they suggest improvements in working conditions like the lighting and the dust, noise, ventilation, pollution. So they work on all these things, and they ensure proper flow of communication between management and workers. And also, if there is any absenteeism in the organization, they try to identify the reason for that and they will suggest steps to reduce it. Okay, so this is what these are the functions of unit council. I hope it is clear. Next one, plant council. Okay, now plant council again will have a tenure for a period of 3 years, and there will be only one plant council for the whole unit, and it is applicable to all central public sector undertakings. And if there is an exemption given by the scheme in the government scheme, that is applicable. Now each plant council, they should have 6 members, not less than 6 members, and it should not be more than 18 members. Okay, and they will meet at least once a quarter, and they will come to a decision based on consensus, and there will not be any kind of voting or all that. Again, the decision should be implemented within a month, otherwise it will be mentioned in the decision. And they normally, the main functions of plant council are related to economic matters, financial aspects, and human resource matters, welfare and environmental aspects. So that is what plant council will deal with. Next one is shop council. Okay, now every industrial unit where there are 500 or more workers, there will be a shop council should be formed. Now again, the total number of members of this shop council should not be more than 12. And all the members of the shop council will be from that unit itself. And again, the decision of the shop council should be implemented within within a period of 1 month. Otherwise, stated otherwise. Then again, their tenure is 3 years. and they shall meet. If they want, they can meet frequently, but at least once a month it is necessary to meet. And what else? Again, they should have equal representatives from employers and workers. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now I'm moving on to next topic, that is, see, if you are finding it difficult to understand any topic, please, because this is, these are bookish, I mean, these are all specified fact. There is nothing more to explain to that, like, there should be 500 or more workers in an industrial unit if you want to form a shop council. So that is it. There is not much explanation to give there. These are all facts related thing. So next one is workers representation on board of management. Now, based on the recommendation of Administrative Reforms Commission, who made their reports on public sector undertakings, Government of India, they have accepted in principle that representatives of workers should be taken as a part of board of directors in public sector enterprises. But this scheme, it has not helped that much in decision making, and these board workers representation on board should be will be formed in those companies where there are more than 1,000 or more workers. But this does not include badli workers or cashier workers. So what are these? I'll explain later. And this worker director, he will be elected by the workers of the company through a secret ballot, and the person who will be elected as the director will be given training on various aspects of business. Then he participates in all the functions of the board, and if the issues are not resolved, they will review and they can discuss it. But yeah, what happened is that this particular scheme or this particular scheme or technique has failed to develop good relation or kind of trust, understanding and cooperation. So I would it is not that much of a successful scheme. Then workers' participation in share capital, last one. So now this is actually outcome of, there was a committee, Sachar committee. Okay, so this is an outcome of Sachar committee, and in its report which they have submitted to government, they observed that majority of the organization are in favor of workers' participation in share capital, and that also future issue of shares, the company should reserve a portion of the new shares exclusively for workers, and these shares, they must be first offered to the workers of the company, to the employees of the company, and if it fails, then it should be offered to the existing shareholders or to the public, but first it should be offered to the employees. Now, because of this scheme, workers, they get an opportunity to have a share in the capital of the organization, and because of this scheme, he gets the status of an employee and as well as the owner of the company. Okay, because they have a part of the share of the capital of the organization. Now, when an employee is a part of ownership, what will happen? He will feel that I'm part of this company. There is a sense of owning comes in employees when he will own a part of the organization. Now, this scheme, it helps to improve industrial relations and also increase the closeness between employees. So I hope it is clear. If you have not understood any part or any topic in this video which you want me to repeat, please let me know in the comment section so that I can make another video also for that. So if you like this video, thank you. Please share, like and subscribe to this channel. Please leave your valuable comments below. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for more videos like this.